Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I just finished watching the video from Dave Rubin and Andrew Gold. It's quite a long video. Longish anyway, not really that long actually. But it's worth watching if you want to go watch it. The link's down below. It was an interesting conversation about the state of the UK and what they think are the possible options moving forward. What do they think the current state is? What do they think the alarm worthiness is of the current state of the UK? And he goes into some detail explaining, what's happened, why it's happened, what possible avenues we can use to try and get out of this situation. And I enjoy views from all kinds of different people. I know I come on my channel and I'm a little bit sensationalist sometimes, but I do actually watch a lot of different contrary opinions to mine. I enjoy seeing what the other side says. It's good. And I'm not saying that these guys are on the other side, by the way. I don't think they're as far right as I am. But they're still on the right side of history, I believe. I know they are. They've done nothing to make me think otherwise. Anyway, point is, preamble over. It's an interesting video. So I've picked out 3 clips. The first one is about... oh yeah, I remember this. I warned you guys quite a while ago now that I thought that with the use of the word racist and Islamophobe and all the other words, the isms that they use, with those words losing their value, losing their power because of overuse and because of oversaturation, the only one that they've really got left, the only word that the government's really got left to hold over us is the word terrorist. And that word is backed with all kinds of legal ramifications as well. And I said that the only way that they can get you to sign up to the digital ID is that those that don't sign up will be called a terrorist.
Your powers of observation continue to serve you well.
Let's have a listen to this.
Let's say you got the political leadership that you wanted and the culture shifted enough so that whether it was Nigel's party or whatever you think would have to be the incoming party comes in and enough people, what do you actually, are you talking soldiers on the street have to kick these people out? What actually has to be done?
A lot of people think there will be civil war. And I just feel like I don't know, it's too late because I wouldn't want to abandon liberal principles and start kicking people out just because they subscribe to a certain religion.
And that's where we differ, Andrew, okay? Because I don't really care how they feel. I wasn't asked if they were allowed into this country. Like many other people out in this country, I was actually vehemently against it my entire life. So, unfortunately, using my emotions against me at this stage will no longer work. I don't feel anything when it comes to sending them home. I don't feel bad. I definitely still want them gone. And using people's empathy against them is the problem that we ended up getting into in the first place. Just stiff up a lip, guys, and just send them home. They've got another country. They'll be all right.
Especially when many of them are peaceful. What I won't say is that most are peaceful or that the large majority are peaceful because statistics don't bear that out. I grew up believing that it was 0.01%. That's what my family who are Jewish would tell me. Oh, don't worry about Islamism. It's like 0.1%. We know it's not. We know we have 40,000 jihadis on the terror watch list in the United Kingdom.
I think we all remember those hazy summer days back in the 1990s when we were sold the dream of multiculturalism and the idea of living in a world where people didn't see race. And that lasted a few years until enough of them actually got into the country and we realised that the government wasn't teaching them that. The government didn't teach them any of those values, just us. So when we realised after a few years that actually the rest of the world don't hold those values, we found ourselves at a serious disadvantage when it comes to public discourse and holding on to our own history, our values and our culture. Again, it's quite often said that it's premeditated and it seems to be bearing out fruit that this was the plan all along.
It's not that.
The United Kingdom has made it also, they also now count terrorists as people who believe that their culture is being replaced by immigrants. So now I'm a terrorist, basically. So that list is going to get a lot larger now.
So Andrew says something here that I've said before, like I said, that they'll start using terrorism as a means to make people fall into line. It's the only avenue that they've really got that allows the kind of fear that they need to install into people to get this kind of legislation and groundwork through the system. I mean, it moves on to more stuff here. Obviously, the digitization of a citizen, the walking QR code, that's digital slavery in all but name. It's something that everyone's got to fight against, do whatever they can to make sure that that doesn't happen. And he talks about some of the reasons that we will struggle to get this pushback that we need if we don't solve the underlying problem, which is the system itself.
What would have to happen? I hate being so defeatist. I don't think anything can happen because Farage can't come in and just start deporting everybody. And even if he wanted to do that and be so illiberal as to deport just innocent, nice people, which I wouldn't want to see happen, he wouldn't be able to, because we have a deep state here. I discussed this with former Prime Minister Liz Truss when she came on Heretics. She was Prime Minister for about, a few days. I mean, it was very short.
Literally,
but she said, but there's nothing you can do because we have civil servants who are people who are not elected, who are just there. And these people, as we know, in any kind of bureaucratic department, tend to be ideologues. So we would reach the point where we are all hanging from, cranes, and they would still be sitting there saying, oh, come on, guys, it's not everyone. So, yeah, I don't know what can happen.
So when Andrew's talking about hanging from cranes, he's obviously talking about if Islam takes over in the UK and they enact Sharia law. Obvious concern. I think a lot of people will have their own fears and concerns if that were to happen. I think a lot of people will just end up leaving the country. But when he's talking about the civil service, now that's something that a lot of people already have a plan in place for, one of them being Rupert Law, who is the founder of Restore Britain. He has a bill in place called the Great Repeal Bill, in which it will tackle the civil service and the 23 or 25 permanent secretaries as well. Basically the guys that run the UK in all but name. So there's plans in place for that to be tackled. It's just they're not Nigel Farage's plans and they're not Reform UK's plans. So that's probably why he's a little bit more pessimistic, and rightly so. And when it comes to finding a way out of this, finding a solution out of this mess that the country's in right now, it's the same solution that everyone else has, I'm afraid, guys. There's no magic bullet to this. It is the same solution that I've said. It's the same solution that every other content creator has said. It's one of the reasons that most of us made our channels in the first place. I'll let Andrew fill you in.
How do you want to end this interview so that people don't want to jump off the bridge?
I'm just going to jump out the window, mate. I'm just gone. I'm just finished. I don't know. I just want us to raise the alarm about it. I want us to remain liberal in traditional liberal sense, just letting people live their lives, but doing so in a way that doesn't lead to the death of everybody.
Well, then you can't have a multicultural society. You just can't have one. You can't have a multi-faith society, unfortunately. I think this experiment is over. I much prefer the idea of homogenous societies, ethnically stable countries, not ethnocentric countries. I don't believe in going to that extreme. I don't think it's necessary. 95% native in any country around the world. I think that's a good number. Probably higher. 98 would be better. And people just take in the very best people, and we just have a shift in the mindset globally towards immigration. We set clear rules, clear boundaries. You're only allowed in countries to live and work and buy houses there if you're a genuinely top 1% contributor to that country. Otherwise, what's the point? Conversations around race, conversations around IQ, conversations around society, ideology, social structure, sexuality, inbreeding, all of these need to be had openly and honestly with people before we can move forward with any kind of acceptance. And I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we've got that in us. I think we've gone past that point already where civil discourse is an option. I think now the sides are being drawn and people are quite happy to choose their side. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of tension, a lot of feeling here, and I don't think it's going to be solved with words.
I think a lot of people are responsible for what's happened. We can't just be angry. We need to convince them that the people on the left, the liberal elite, whatever, a lot of people, and no one wants to say this, a lot of people on the Jewish left, the Jewish center, have been part of this. You know, they have been. I know that plays into a kind of Groyper stereotype.
Yeah, stereotypes are there for a reason, mate.
But you talk about New York. It's no surprise that it's New York and places like San Francisco and LA. It's obviously not just Jewish people. It's all sorts of people who move to those places, feel like they're all liberal, fuck the places up, and then move to Austin to try and do the same thing to Texas, you know? Those people will never wake up, but we have to make them try. We have to try to make them wake up. That's what I want to leave people with.
I mean, I like the sentiments. That it's nice. It's a nice idea that you can talk people around, that you can show them the facts, that you can make them see sense. But in my life, I've found that once people become ideologically locked into something, it's almost impossible to pry them free. The cognitive dissonance is able to cloud their judgment to such a degree that they'll ignore basic facts and figures and data points and argue old rhetoric and old talking points that have been reeled out by politicians over the years. I mean, a good example is Jack Dart. He's complaining here about the England flags. What he says is completely, well, it's bollocks. Listen to this.
This morning, on my way into work, walking through Uxbridge in this very spot just behind me outside the Civic Centre, I was stopped by a group of people who asked me if I would sign their petition to stop the boats. When I declined, there was instant suspicion. Then the jeering and swearing began. You dickhead, you lefty dickhead. You want these migrants to come over here and rape our women and children. This is an absurd thing to say to somebody that you don't know in the streets. And this is, of course, untrue. There is no credible evidence anywhere to suggest that migrants are disproportionately committing these crimes.
Yeah, thing is, that's not true, is it? As you can see, there's quite a big difference between the sexual offences in England and Wales compared to the rest of the world per 10,000 people. The UK and its citizens are dead last. Weird that. I thought that was all bullshit, mate. You see, this is the problem with people like this. They believe what someone has told them without actually finding out any evidence to support what they're talking about. And they talk about this blindly and with authority. They make it very difficult for you to reach them. But they're not the worst ones, okay? They're just the dim ones, the little ones, the ones that are a little bit stupid. Then you've got the ones that are a bit more sinister. They know what they're doing and they just try and gaslight you. They're the traitors.
I think it's about context. So right now it's a really sensitive subject. There are times when it's fine and it's celebratory, when Jerry Halliwell was wearing Union Jack pants in the late 90s. That was all fun and playful. Right now it's a very sensitive subject. I think right now, if you stick a pole and a Union Jack tomorrow outside your house, I think you're making a statement. And I think that statement is probably that you prefer Britain to be more white.
Okay, so this is really simple. Richard Bacon, I believe, was a former children's presenter who got fired for doing cocaine or something. So obviously he's a paragon of virtue there. We should all listen to him about what it means to be English. But anyway, simple rebuttal. He's there lecturing you about being racist because you want your country to remain white. An English country, England, full of the English, you want it to remain English. You're a racist. Well, I'd actually turn around and say to him, what gives him the fucking right to turn around and say that your country should be more brown? That seems really racist to me, because you're not going around to other countries telling the Chinese they need to accept more Africans, telling the Africans they need to accept more Singaporeans. No, it's just the English, and it's just us that you're trying to gaslight into feeling bad about wanting our own country. Very simple response to people like this. Go fuck yourself. This is England. See you later, guys. Well, I say that the English have been kind enough, respectful enough, patient enough, long enough. I say love your country. I say love England.